Hello there from Central Virginia. It is now the beginning of June and it's time for a garden tour. So if you don't love garden tours, run along. If you love garden tours, come along with me and I'll show you what's going on in my June garden, my main garden that is, now that it is underway for the summer. There's a lot going on, including these gorgeous roses behind me. I started this rose alley a few years ago, and each year I planted a new rose bush, and now so that when I look down from my driveway when I drive in, I can see this pretty array of roses. I always plant a lot of flowers and herbs outside of my garden, and you can see that this particular mallow, French mallow plant is overwhelming this little cherry tomato, but the cherry tomato is coming along and has now set some blossoms. Let's take a look inside. So much can happen in just a month of growth. The garden is really now starting to look filled out and is starting to look like it's about to pop out with produce. I have put shade cloth up over my brassicas because we're getting some heat coming in, and I want to try to keep my kales and my cauliflowers. I want to give my cauliflowers a chance to actually head up. I've been picking broccoli. That's basically at its end. So I'm going to come in and pick these last little bits of the secondary heads on my DeCecco broccoli. Over here I've got a row of the Dean's purple pole beans, and my peas were a bust this year, at least my sugar snap peas. I did plant them all in here, and truly that's all that grew, not much. Over here is my broad beans, my fava beans, and I've been harvesting fava beans now. I've had like 3 harvests off of them, and I have a few more left to go, as you can see. I will say the one issue I've had with the favas has been aphids, these black aphids, which I understand is a problem with favas, and I've knocked them off several times, but they keep coming back. You can see how infested they are. So I'm gonna be picking these and pulling these beans. Maybe we'll have better luck with that, keeping the aphids away in the fall planting. Down on this row, I have some mainly cherry tomatoes, although this is a Cherokee purple right here. And all of these are just going great guns. I can't believe it. Can't believe it. Oh, these gladiolas are so big I can barely get through now. The German chamomile is about to bloom. You can see those little buds on there. I have a squash plant here tucked in, and over here I've got, I don't like this. I think this is maybe spider mites or something like that on these cucumbers. Don't like that look. That's new as of today. So I will have to do something. I'm gonna have to do a little research and find out what is the problem. This tomato plant, which is actually called a potato leaf tomato, is a Japanese trifeli. I think that's how you pronounce it, and it's got a tomato on there already. This one is suffering from a little bit of blossom end rot or something there. I think I'm just going to pull that one off and let it develop other nicer tomatoes. Plenty of blossoms on this particular tomato. And over here is the Cherokee purple. It's got already 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 tomatoes that are set on there and growing away. Now, I don't like what I'm seeing right here on this one. This could be, I'm not sure what this is. It might be a fungus, or it might just be an old beat up plant. I'm going to take those lower leaves off and give this a treatment with some hydrogen peroxide spray. I have been harvesting my Jersey Wakefield cabbages, and I've got some nice chard coming up here. I'll be replanting this particular bed pretty soon, although I've got some cucumbers coming up right here to grow up this trellis. You may remember that I did a little video on whether or not I could train these cucumbers to grow up a string to this trellis, and I'm happy to say that it seems to be working. I'm just continuing to wrap it around and around that leader, and there it goes. It seems to be happy enough, and here's another one over here. So growing them up out this way gives them a little bit more airspace, and it gets them beyond getting trapped in between those fencings. Take a look at this crazy Monarda stand right here. It's going a little bit nuts. I planted one Monarda plant 5 years ago, and this is what we've got. Plenty of Monarda. Now here are the beans. These are bush beans that I have planted, and you can see that these ones are just starting to blossom, and they should be setting their beans out pretty darn soon and ready to pick in another maybe week and a half. These are Maxibels on this side and the contenders on this side. This is the second planting of beans that I planted about 3 weeks after these. You can see the purple blossoms on the contenders. And these are providers on this side and Maxibels on this side. I'll be planting new beans probably today or tomorrow in this final patch. You continue to plant beans like that, first one group and then another a couple weeks later and then another. You're ensuring that things like bush beans that come in all at once come in steadily throughout the summer. It's called relay planting, just like if you ran a relay and you're handing off the baton to another group. These first plantings of beans will hand off their baton to the next group, and then by the time they're ready, the second group is ready to harvest, I'll be planting, the third group will be ready to harvest. So, and then I'll replant in that first group space once they're done. It's a pretty clever way of maximizing your use of space. For those of you who are new to my channel, my garden has an enclosed space with a fence around it. That's where we just were. And then an equally large place that is not fenced. So it's left open to whatever should happen to happen there. And we have them all. We've got deer, we've got bear, we've got coyotes, we've got foxes, we've got raccoons, we've got. And that's what happens if you don't fence. You might lose something to some of those critters. You might lose some of those things to those critters even if you are fenced. So stuff happens. All right, what do we have out here? Well, I have a number of fruit trees, small fruit trees that I planted. They're not yet bearing fruit. I have a few apples on my apple tree for the first. Hopefully the deer won't get those this year. On my border areas, I always plant things that are not necessarily going to be that attractive to the wildlife. Interestingly enough, they're not supposed to eat dahlias. So I have planted some dahlias, and I plant hot peppers, my chili peppers, here on the outside. No matter how often you look, you're always going to find something that shouldn't be growing there. In this case, a couple of weeds and a volunteer tomato plant and some grass, which I need to pull out. But I've got several kinds of peppers here. I've got serrano peppers, I've got Carolina cayennes, and I've got some fish pepper plants as well. I also planted some sweet William and a stand of phlox. Now, the deer have eaten the phlox in the past few years, and I'm not going to say they're not going to get it this year, because the moment I say that, they'll come along and have a midnight snack. I have Ecchonia. This is a beautiful Ecchonia plant, and I have lots of flowers, perennial flowers growing in here, as well as Mexican tarragon, which I got to say I don't love, and that might be coming out. Now, look what happened. These flowers just went berserk, and they just overwhelmed my artichoke plants. So the artichoke plants in this area are not going to artichoke this year. Up this arch, I'll be growing probably some snake beans or maybe some cucumbers. I've got some newly planted, last year I planted this milkweed, and this is a lacy-leafed Ecchonia, kind of pretty Ecchonia plant. I just planted that last year too, and it's obviously a very happy camper. I have self-seeded celosia, and I planted some marigolds here and a couple of tomatoes. This is my Ruth Stout potato bed. And I've got some artichokes over here, as well as dahlias, more potatoes. My potatoes are going to be ready to harvest pretty soon. Underneath the netting are blueberries, and there are a couple of them that are starting to ripen already, and I have been eating them, but it'll take another week or so before they're really coming in strong. Let's see, what else do I have? I have some eggplants. All of them are doing very well, except for this little guy, although maybe it'll rebound. And what's on here is spinosad. That is the organic dust, because flea beetles are such a huge, huge problem in this area. On the outside there, I have my newly planted row of blueberries. Here are my blackberries. This is blackberries that were transplanted down 3 years ago from my kitchen garden area, from plants that my dad had started. On this, I have my new hops. You saw me put this arch up by myself not long ago. Now here's something we don't like. That black bug right there. See him? That is a nymph of a lanternfly. And I kill him with my bare fingers. Oops, he got away. I transplanted these hops late last fall. I think, in fact, it was in December over here, because they were crowding out my the passion. They were crowding out the passion flower vine, and lo and behold, the passion flower vine didn't make it through the winter. So, oh well. In any case, I have a nice hop stand here, and they're going to have a lot more room to grow. Here will be my melon patch, and I planted some determinate tomatoes here as well. They are growing along nicely. And here we have crimson sweet watermelon and 2 yellow moonbeam watermelons. And here are the Edisto. I had to plant the Edisto melons. Those are a cantaloupe twice, because they didn't come up the first time, but then they seem to be happy the second time. All right, yesterday I planted a Cinderella pumpkin here, and over on my periphery I've got garlic that's just about ready to harvest. And these are some little watermelons, little sugar babies that are coming up. More echinacea, and this is a honeysuckle plant, red flame honeysuckle. Here is the clipdaga that is the happiest of all the ones that I planted. This plant is already taller than I am. This plant is, it's 5'6" at least, or maybe a little bit more. And it was only put in the ground when it was about 8 inches tall on May 1st, so a month ago. I have some melons that are coming up, Eden Gems, that will come up and grow up this trellis, as well as some ginger in here. And the lemon balm that's taking over the universe that I've got to get rid of, or cut it way back. I have more eggplants growing down on the southeast side here, actually the east side of the garden, and a couple of tomato plants, or pepper plants. And over here, more lemon balm and oregano. This is where the hops was growing. And I've got some beautiful black-eyed Susans that are about to pop open here. It's going to be very pretty. As you know, I have a lot of gardens planted in a lot of different areas here at Mountain View Gardens, but this is what I call my lower garden, or my main garden. And if you didn't know, I am a no-dig gardener in Central Virginia, a no-dig organic gardener in Central Virginia. Thanks so much for taking this tour with me, and don't forget to like and do subscribe and help me grow my channel. I'd really appreciate it. Thanks for watching. Take care. Bye. All right, what am I going to do about that cucumber beetle?